The Dallas Mavericks are reportedly targeting Lonzo Ball, one of a few point guard targets that they have for the offseason. Could the Chicago Bulls actually come out of that deal with something they desperately need? Me and Pat are going to discuss that, plus a draft profile for Yexel Lendeborg, and more. All that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages, and podcasts. Pat, let's jump right into it today. The Dallas Mavericks have a few point guard targets on their board, reportedly. This one comes out from Mark Stein. We're going to break it down. So their apparent first target is Drew Holiday trade, but with the size of Drew Holiday's contract, that could be a little concerning. They are targeting a point guard because Kyrie Irving's going to miss a nice chunk at the start of the season, maybe even up to half the season. We'll see what happens there. Then another one is Chris Paul as a free agent target, which they could sign outright. He did play all 82 games last year. And then Lonzo Ball as the trade target there for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, in these deals, they're willing to part with a combination of either PJ Washington or Daniel Gafford, who both have around $14 million contracts. Pat, let me ask you this. If the Mavs strike out on Chris Paul and Drew Holiday, they come to the Chicago Bulls calling for Lonzo Ball. Is Daniel Gafford enough for you to part with Lonzo Ball?
A ham sandwich is enough for me to part with Lonzo Ball. Daniel Gafford makes this deal an exciting deal. Like, this is not,
that is hilarious.
Bro, what are we talking about? But no, like I would love to get Daniel Gafford back on the Chicago Bulls. I think he's a piece where, and it's so funny because I remember I was doing the Breeze when we traded Daniel Gafford, and the only reason I said I'm down for trading Daniel Gafford is because the Bulls had such a run of finding that guy that I was like, you're always going to be able to find that guy. I mean, we
haven't been able to find it since, bro.
We ain't found it since,
bro. We had a nice run of those guys that were here for 1 or 2 years, all the way dating back to Amir Sheik. I mean, you could even go further than that. PJ Brown, technically, you can go to, who was another one of those backup center solid role guys,
bro,
and have not been able to find it since then.
Ain't been able to find a single one. And I think, listen, there's a ton of upside to me with Daniel Gafford, especially if you are going to re-sign Josh Giddey, or if the Igor Demon rumors are true. I don't really know how that works. But if you are going to be able to re-sign Josh Giddey to this team, I would love to see Giddey and Gafford running the floor together. I think Gafford could be somebody who could play off of the bench. I think he could be somebody who could be your starting big if push came to shove and you didn't upgrade that position, or you just wanted to have a veteran in that position initially. I think he gives you 3 times as much as anything that Lonzo Ball is going to ever be able to really give you. Just from the health standpoint of it, he's played 70 games 3 times in his career. So like I would love to see a guy like Daniel Gafford added to this Chicago Bulls team. The biggest question that you have is, are all the other options going to fall through? I think Chris Paul, coming to the team is basically, Chris, do you not want to leave Texas, even though San Antonio don't want to re-sign you? I mean, you want to keep playing. I don't think Chris Paul is that tough of a sell. And I'll be honest with you, I think you hit the nail on the head. He played all 82 games of whatever this 40% Chris Paul we're getting right now is better than 100% of Lonzo's 35 games a year.
And his job is literally get the ball to Cooper Flagg in his positions and get the ball to AD and let them go to work. That's going to be his role if that is. So I don't want to talk about it if it's like Lonzo is the only target, because they have to get through those first 2, but if they do come to the place and say, hey, Lonzo, technically it's a 1-year deal because it's a team option in the second year. It's only a $10 million contract. No fuss, no frills. I even think if it is Daniel Gafford, they could probably convince the Bulls to give them a second on top of that if they need be. So Daniel Gafford could be exactly what the Bulls need. Even if you do draft a big here, he could be that starting big for you for a year or 2 until that big's ready to take over. I think he can even play with Jalen if you do end up keeping Jalen here around as well. So I think that that would be like, that would, as much as I hate that we missed out on the 18th overall pick and didn't just send him to Memphis when we had the chance, that would probably be the best consolation prize, a player that brings exactly what we need on this team. And Gafford catching lobs from Josh Giddey, sign me up.
Sign me up. And listen, Daniel Gafford, there are role players in this league that are doing crazy things and nobody talks about it. Daniel Gafford shoots 70% from the field.
Yeah.
Daniel Gafford makes 7 out of 10 shots that he puts up. I don't care if they're all dunks. Like, that's insane. Like, that's not a normal stat you see.
I think he led the league in field goal shooting percentage this year. I believe he did.
Yeah, had to. Who else is shooting over 70%? Well, maybe Zion. But even in his time, just in his time in Dallas when he got traded there that first year, he shot almost 80% from the field.
That's crazy.
He shot 78% from the field, bro. Like, I don't get it with all of the you don't pay attention to a lot of what a lot of the role players are doing. And there's a lot of people out there who are going to look at this and be like, Daniel Gafford, that's a nothing move. That's a nothing piece. That's a nothing addition. That's not a nothing.
If you think Daniel Gafford is a nothing move, then I don't want to talk basketball to those people.
Well, you know how mugs are now with if you're not trying to compete for championships, it's nothing now, right? Those are the conversations all over Bulls, whatever it is, Discords, Twitter, Reddit, wherever you want to go, right? This move does nothing for me. It doesn't move the needle. You got a fun piece back. Like, no, these are moves that good teams make. If you find a way to flip Lonzo Ball into Daniel Gafford, there may be, that's a few good moves in a row by AK.
Yeah. I mean, listen, depending on how AK plays this offseason, we could have to start pivoting and be like, is AK smart again? Depending on a few things.
You got to hit in this draft.
You got to hit on this draft. You got to be smarter in free agency. But you know, we'll see about that. But I would love this Daniel Gafford move. And again, the way that I look at it is this too. We
no
have
love for PJ Washington, by the way. We haven't mentioned his name once.
No, here's the thing. I wouldn't mind it I would love it for Daniel Gafford. It would be okay to me for PJ Washington too, because PJ is a player that I do think can play the three next to Matas Buzelis. He can stretch the floor. He can shoot the ball. He's an okay defender in the team concept. I wouldn't hate it if it's PJ. It's just that my preferred target, of course, would be Daniel Gafford.
Yeah, I think that's Daniel's the jewel, the crown jewel of this, if you will. The PJ one, I don't know if I trust the shot, dog. PJ Washington jump shot so up and down.
But it's like he has a solid season. He doesn't have a solid season. It's funny that he broke the all-time rookie 3-point shooting record against us in his first game. But you know that's I always remember that it was the first game of the season. But I don't mind PJ. PJ is a player that you can convince me that PJ can help this team, whether it's being on the bench or being in the starting lineup. You can convince me that. But Daniel Gafford is the perfect piece in this one to me.
Yeah, getting that back. I think it just fits rotationally. Both pieces fit, but I think Daniel Gafford just fits rotationally what the Bulls need on this team, not only on the offensive side, but also on the defensive side. I think that he adds a defensive anchor to this team that you sorely need and haven't had at that big man position. The only question that I would ask was how does it change the responsibility of guys like Matas Buzelis, like Kobe White, where Daniel Gafford, to my knowledge, has not attempted a single three-pointer in his entire career.
Yeah.
He ain't shooting.
He's not.
Because he's at the rim, and that's it.
But he knows his limitations. That's why, right? Like I don't need like, and everybody was like, there's so many people that, you know, and us talking about centers. I don't know if you watch the comments are like, yeah, but Thomas Sorber and Ace Newell, they can't hit the three. And I'm like, every center doesn't need to be this crazy 3-point shooter. Like, I think people now confuse stretching the floor with only meaning 3-point shooting. A center to stretch the floor just needs to hit a solid 12 to 15 footer.
Yeah, just have a nice flow game. Have a nice flow game. All you're trying to do is not have the paint entirely collapse on top of anybody who drives in there. So I think the Bulls are in a good position to make some interesting pickups. But again, if you could flip Lonzo Ball for anything, I'm telling you, a bag of golf balls would be great right now.
Well, think we could have had an 18th overall pick for that. Like that's
listen,
bro.
I've been saying that ever since when it was like, oh, Memphis is not going to be in the lottery. they're really not going to be in the lottery. Like we could have had. And the funny part about it is, me and you are both talking. We're like, the Bulls got to trade back into this draft, right? Like,
yeah,
Brooklyn has 9 picks. Like, you got to trade back into this draft, right?
Which, by the way, in our the Locked On mock draft,
is that out yet? Can we drop that yet?
We can't drop the details, but just know when that drops, we took care of us. Just know we did good in this mock draft. We took care of us.
If AK want some tips, call us.
But with that said, man, we're going to continue our draft process. We're going to look at Yexel Lendeborg. But first, we got to get to a message from Wayfair.
His name like that.
Look at Pat. Look at Pat. The days are getting longer. The days are getting longer. The weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or small balcony, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. And with Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials, it makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they got it all. And at the prices that fit your budget. A new patio dining set and some string lights from Wayfair to help extend your outdoor space does not cost much at all. I love the mix of styles that they offer. Wayfair makes it super easy to find pieces that match your vibe without spending a fortune. Delivery is free and hassle-free, even with the big stuff. Whether you're entertaining guests for a relaxing solo, shop Wayfair to help you unwind. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Pat. Yaxel. How do you feel about Yaxel? First of all, I do think Stacey, as much as I hate the little boozy vert nickname, Yaxel would be a hell of a one. I think Stacey King will come up with a good name for Yaxel.
Yeah, Yaxel. It's a good Yaxel. It'd just be a scream of Yaxel. I can't think of a good nickname one.
It's just gonna be the stream of Yaxel.
I think the Boozy Vert one is tough because has anybody heard from Lil Uzi Vert in like 10 years? Like
he just dropped an album that actually was like thought about to be one of the best. I don't know if rap, one of the best albums like the last 2-3 years, bro.
What album was that? Talk about Pink Tape?
Was that it? No, he dropped the album since Pink Tape, didn't he?
No.
No.
That's why I'm sitting here. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, did I miss it?
Really?
Lil Uzi Vert versus the World was 2016, my boy.
Bro. Hey, listen.
That was 10 years ago. That's what I meant.
That's crazy.
I was like, what is Haize talking about right now? Am I tripping? But no, man.
No, he dropped Internal Attack 2 in 2024. I didn't think I was tripping.
I did not like that album. So
okay. I didn't either. I don't like any Lil Uzi Vert album, but my kids love them. So there you go.
All right. Let's talk a little Yexel Lendeborg. I feel bad because I actually like Yaxel. I feel like we did our normal riff of like we don't really care about this player. No, I actually like it. Yaxel. I think good motor on him. I think the defensive versatility alone is something that you really got to look at with him as interesting. Again, I think he is another high floor, maybe lower ceiling player, but and I'll say this. He could be another one of those guys that is looked at as a modest Buzelis of this draft because with the IQ that he has, with his playmaking ability, with his rebounding, those are his strengths right now. And the scoring is mostly strong around the basket. If he can find a way to get some shooting consistency with his mid-range game and with his three-point game, he could be a very dangerous player that you could get later on in the draft. Now, I don't think that I would take him at 12 if I'm the Chicago Bulls. I think that's just a little too high, and there's better players there available to you. But the one thing that I would, again, we had that conversation about the possibility of trading back into the draft. If you're in that late round situation where maybe, hey, Brooklyn, we want your, what do they got, 24th or 25th pick, something like that. We'll give you, the Portland pick and a future first for your 25th pick overall this year. and you went back in and got I would love that because I think you've got the consistency at the things that you need, right? The defense, he was 1.8 blocks a game, 1.7 steals per game in college, the playmaking ability, the IQ, but then also you've got the upside, which is what you want to see from a guy that you take late in the first round.
Yeah. That's the perfect, what you just laid out there is perfect. I think that's the exact thing. Yaxel is not a pick here at 12. He's a pick if you get back into the first, maybe even into the second, depending on how some things go. By the way, I just want everybody to acknowledge the fact that I told y'all CMB wasn't good. You see, he's starting to drop into the second round.
Oh,
he's starting to drop into the second round.
Boys, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I thought you were talking about cash money. I was like, what?
Cash money's dropping to the second round of what draft?
I was like, are they still in the draft? Is that? I thought they were going undrafted this year.
That is hilarious. But no, I do think that he is an option there, and I like him. I think his very high floor. The ceiling may not be as high as some of the other options. It's probably why you're going to see him go at the end of the first. But when you look at him, like big body, strong, can defend multiple positions. He can defend 2s and 3s, I think, right away at the NBA level. And he's solid enough. The shooting, I think, is going to determine whether he's a starter or a role player in the NBA. Because if that 3-point shot, which he's shown some flashes of it being okay, if that becomes a consistent weapon for him, then I could see him maybe flirting with being a starter, depending on what the rest of the starting lineup looks like. But you know, I like the kid as a prospect. And I think sometimes, like, the reason why I wanted to talk about him today is because we get so caught up in, like, who's going to be the star, which is great. Make no mistake about it. But sometimes you need the Taj Gibsons, right? You need those guys with high floors that end up playing in the NBA for a long time. And if you can get those guys early into their career, they provide excellent value on contracts. They provide excellent as far as being able to contribute right away. And I think he has that nice mix. He is a little bit on the older side, but he has that nice mix still of having some upside if you get him, with a shooting coach. But apparently the Bulls don't prioritize those. So,
who believes in shooting coaches anymore? I think that's the big thing, right? The 3-point shot has to be more consistent, especially. I think that the mid-range, having a go-to mid-range move, he just doesn't have that right now, and those are things that can be developed at the NBA level. I think he does a good job of playing around the rim, where, like I said, that's his strength. But the big question mark is right now, are you in the way of a guy like Modest Buzelis? Now, are you in the way of Kobe White trying to drive down there, right? You also have to fit in kind of to where the mix of the team is. And it's not like he's going to be a massive lob threat for the Bulls if the Bulls were to go after him. So you kind of got to find your role in, some kind of jump shot being consistent, because I think you've maxed out his vert at 31 inches, like 6'9", 31-inch vertical. You're doing some solid rim grazing, my guy.
Yeah. I mean, it could be worse.
That might be crazy.
That is a little crazy, bro. That's just a little crazy. That's a little crazy.
Solid. Doing some.
That's a little questionable, my boy. A little questionable. But at 6'9", 6'10" with the 7'3" wingspan,
some solid rim grazing.
That is crazy, bro.
Wow.
Hey, Pat. Hey, listen, bro. Like, one thing about us, bro, you're gonna get at least one pause-worthy moment out of this show. So.
You ain't lying. Jesus Christ.
That's crazy. Brazil Popular says that Yaxel is Fleming with dribble, shoot, pass ability. No, he's not. Come on, bro. Rasheer Fleming is a much better shooter, much better defender, much better rim protector. Like that. Like, come on, bro.
That's a little crazy.
Yeah, if Yaxel was Rasheer Fleming with dribbling and better shooting ability, he'd
be a top 5 pick.
Yeah,
he'd be a top 5 pick.
That's a little crazy there to go on that one. Let me ask you this, Pat. As it stands right now, we'll get into some of these guys as we go on. If the Bulls do trade back into the first, or just maybe higher up into the second, who is one of your guys that you would focus on in this draft? Is Yaxel high on that list?
Yaxel's on the list of guys that I would like to see the Bulls go after if you were getting guys later on in the draft. I think, listen, I haven't seen the climb from Danny Wolf that I thought I was going to see. Hopefully it stays there where he's at right now. Seems like Danny Wolf may be a 20 to 25 pick. If he's on the board there, go get him.
Listen, I'm right there. If Danny Wolf is on the board, where do the Brooklyn Nets pick at? 26, 27,
26,
I'm
27.
on the phone at 26 and being like, listen, not the 2026 first rounder, but if we can get the 2027 first rounder top 5 protected, you can have it. Let's get, because I don't think you will have a pick that high. If you get Danny Wolf and you get a different player earlier on, whether it's Cedric Coward or whoever else, that's the perfect draft in that case, bro.
Yeah, 100%. Like that would be you won. Like now we're sitting here and we having that conversation, like you said, of like, oh wait, AK might be doing something. Hold on, AK might be a little bit smart. Hold on now, we back in on Captain Carney.
I gotta see them. I gotta see them make the playoffs again. If that is the case, then I'm back in. Then I'm back in. But we're gonna go back in ourselves. We're gonna. There's been a rumor about RJ Barrett potentially being somebody that the Bulls are circling around amongst other teams, but the source is a little bit questionable. We're gonna talk about it all and more right after this. All right, Pat. So there was a rumor that started circulating around Saturday evening in regards to the Toronto Raptors are shopping RJ Barrett, and it did mention that the Chicago Bulls could be one of those teams that does have some interest there. Now, I remember, as me and Pat are both going to go down memory lane, the Bulls could have had RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and I believe 2 unprotected first round picks a couple of years ago. But regardless of that, it seems like maybe the Bulls, I don't believe the report because the source is mad. I'm not going to call out any names here on Locked On. If we were on,
you were just about to call him out.
I'm trying to be better here, bro. I'm really
also,
trying to be better.
He wrote the article, so like,
yeah. It's mad questionable, bro. I don't understand it. Like, but anyway, how do you feel, bro?
Listen, I wouldn't be mad at RJ on this team. I think that he brings a lot of what the Bulls need. I would love a lineup where RJ Barrett is out there with Ayo Dosunmu. I think that would be, now you're having some good conversation on a team that can go out there and get some things done on both ends of the court. The concern would be, the 3-point shooting is still incredibly volatile for him. I think 2 years ago, he was one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. Last season, he was solid. He was okay. It really came back down to earth, and that's really been kind of the theme of his career. That 3-point shot has been up and down, which has really dictated how good of a player he's been on the floor. I wouldn't be mad at RJ Barrett, but again, at this point, you're just swapping role players for role players.
Yeah,
like you're not. I don't think it moves the needle. I don't think that you get better. I don't think that you're. Like RJ Barrett, you're swapping out RJ Barrett for who? Kobe? Or you're swapping out RJ Barrett for, maybe it is for Ayo, or you're swapping out RJ Barrett. Okay. It's a cool piece to add to the team, but I don't know if it moves the needle that much for me. And for RJ Barrett to be the guy that he is, that you've seen over the last couple of seasons on Toronto, are you giving RJ Barrett 15 shots a game here? Because that's what he basically was up to in Toronto.
And that's the question, right? Because that potentially cuts into Modest in his offseason development. Like, I get it that the Bulls are trying to make the playoffs. So for that, they're going to try to add guys that are good. Now, I of course, us as fans, we're going to question, like, all right, how much is this cutting into Modest? What does this mean for Modest? How much is it affecting Modest? But I don't hate RJ Barrett as a player, right? I want to be clear here. My question is the fit with this current team. Like, RJ Barrett is better when he's driving. At that point, you got Kobe, you got RJ, you got Giddey, and even Modest a little bit, that all thrive on basically getting to the basket and to the rim in some shape, form, or fashion. That's a little bit of a concern to me. That's a lot of the same things. I will say he's probably going to cost less than Jonathan Kuminga, which is another target that the Bulls had, right? The $24 million is actually think about it this way. He's only making $5 million more than Patrick Williams. And if you compare the production,
yeah, that is true. I didn't think about that, but I guess that is true.
I'm just saying. So you got to look at all those things.
If you trade him for Patrick Williams, I'm all in. Like, just put all of them FSU dudes up in Toronto together.
Listen,
and none of them will beat the allegations.
Listen, let Patrick Williams and Scotty Barnes go light up the league. Like I said, I wouldn't hate it. My brain registered late what you said. That is hilarious, bro. That's funny. But like I said, the source on this one, I'm not moved. So it is what it is.
Listen, here's the big thing for me at the end of the day, and here's what does scare me, right? Do you see RJ Barrett as a piece that can continue to get better? He's been sent into now 2 situations, going from the Knicks that had kind of like a hodgepodge, or not a hodgepodge. What's it like a I guess kind of what the Bulls are trying to build, where you got 7 or 8 good guys that can all put up 15 to 20 points, to then going to a Toronto team where you're basically being asked to be the second or third guy on the team. Does RJ come in as the more shots he's gotten? He hasn't gotten ultra less efficient, I should say. And he's continued to up his points per game. Does AK possibly see him as a guy who comes in here and can be a high volume scorer for the Chicago Bulls? That scares me going down that path, but the more shots you give him, the better he has gotten.
Yeah, it's very true.
Oh,
I guess we shall see, man. We shall see. AK is it like it, are we starting to feel that there could be more cooking here being done by AK than initially thought?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I'm still waiting for the summer of 27. That's what I'm waiting on, because AK told me that in the summer of 24 going into 25. We're just waiting for the summer of 27. I think that's when we're going to make a lot of our big moves, and it's going to be fun. Sir, there's a season happening in like 5 months. F that season?
Yeah, don't worry about that season.
He's taking a Lonzo Ball approach to the season. He's like, hey, we don't need that season. 35 games in that season. That's all we need.
Alonzo Ball approach to the season sounds terrifying. Any last thoughts, Pat, before we get up out of here?
Man,
brother?
appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls.
And Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Fubo TV, Roku TV, basically anywhere you want us, you can get it. All right, we'll see you guys right and early in tomorrow's episode. I'm going to keep saying it because it makes Pat so uncomfortable.
It's so weird.
Peace out.
Peace. Wherever you want it, wherever you need it.